Center Station. We have team coverage starting with WTOP's Dick Giuliano.
The shooting happened around 6:20 p.m. on the Glenmont side of the rail platform at Metro Center. D.C. Police Executive Assistant Chief Sean Benedict says the off-duty special agent assigned to headquarters was involved in an altercation with a man, and the two struggled near a wall away from the tracks.
Both individuals go off the side of the wall, and that struggle continues. Shots end up being fired during that struggle.
The man was killed and the off-duty agent received minor injuries. Indications are there was just one gun involved.
We're still processing the scene. At this point, we haven't recovered another firearm.
Outside Metro Center in downtown D.C., Dick Giuliano, WTOP News.
I'm Mike Murillo. It was a scary night for Karina Taylor of D.C. She was waiting for a red line train, and as that train arrived, the gunfire started.
So the first pop, everyone goes, oh, the train. The second, third, fourth, everyone starts running.
She says many people screamed as they ran for the exits, but a lot of people were helping one another out.
People were starting to trip. People were pulling people up. They thankfully were super responsive in opening up the gates to let everyone through.
She says she's glad she made it out okay.
I actually am wearing brand new, very high-heeled boots today, but they held up.
Mike Murillo, WTOP News.
Now, there's no word yet why or how this all started. Stay with WTOP and WTOP.com. We will bring you updates as we get them. Turning now to Northern Virginia, we are hearing reactions tonight from Loudoun County after the decision to fire School Superintendent Scott Ziegler. The vote to fire him at a school board meeting last night was quick and unanimous. It follows a grand jury investigation into the school system's handling of sexual assaults.
So we think it really needed to be done.
And it really shouldn't have taken a year, but it is a good first step.
That's something that Amanda Bean of the group Loudoun for All and Ian Pryor of Fight for Our Schools both agree on. After a male student sexually assaulted a classmate at one high school, he was transferred to a different school where he struck again, after even more warnings were ignored.
The Loudoun County School Board needs to take a hard look at that grand jury report and really make sweeping changes.
The adults involved were really concerned about politics and not as much about these poor girls.
John Dome in WTOP News.
And we're learning the Loudoun County School Board will hold an emergency meeting tomorrow night to discuss who will lead the school system temporarily and make a decision. Members will decide if Dr. Daniel Smith should be named acting superintendent. Smith has served as the district's chief of staff since April. That special meeting is set to begin tomorrow night at 6:45. The man sentenced to life in prison for the stabbing death of Army Lieutenant Richard Collins III will stay in prison. Sean Urbanski's murder conviction was upheld today by Maryland's Court of Special Appeals. The defense had argued that the trial judge should not have allowed jurors to see or hear about racist memes found on Urbanski's phone because there was no connection between the racially offensive material on the phone and the murder. Urbanski is white. He was sentenced to life in prison in January of last year after being found guilty of stabbing Collins, who is black. The crime happened at a bus stop on the campus of the University of Maryland in College Park back in 2017. Coming up, what does Senator Raphael Warnock's re-election victory mean for both Democrats and Republicans? We'll get analysis after traffic and weather. It's 10:07.
At Len the Plumber, we know that when you need a plumber, you want an expert in your home.
A licensed plumber has the know-how and the expertise to solve your problem, to do it right the first time.
Customers want a plumber. They don't want a guy that's going to try and sell them an HVAC system while they're looking at the water heater. All we do is plumbing, and we're good at it.
Our promise of same-day service 7 days a week isn't just an option. It's who we are.
The only way to get a plumber today, just call Len the Plumber.
Here's a highlight from Raj Jammy, the Chief Technologist for Advanced Technologies at MITRE, on Federal News Network's Executive Briefing, sponsored by MITRE.
The important factor that we have to keep in mind is we need to approach the problem of semiconductor technology a little more holistically than we've been doing so far. In the past, it was simply a question of scale, and you have a next generation node. Or perhaps you have an architecture and you have a next generation node. It's no longer so.
To learn more, visit Federal News Network. Search MITRE.
10:08.
Michael and Son's heating tune-up for only $69.
Traffic and The weather on the 8th, Ian Crawford in the WTOP Traffic Center.
Once again, we start in the district, Michelle, on the southeast-southwest freeway, actually specifically on the southeast freeway, the part that is I-695 after the 3rd Street Tunnel heading for the 11th Street Bridge. The crash near 6th Street Southeast and the Navy Yard. At last report, it was 2 to the left to get by, and a very, very cautious merge, but the ramp to 6th Street Southeast at last report was open, but again with extreme caution. And that's really the watchword overnight, because we're going to have a lot of low visibility moments as the air is warm enough and the air is wet enough. We're going to have a lot of fog. We've already had a lot. Some of it's burns off, but some of it's maybe just shifting around. Extra caution, low beam headlights, less speed, more following distance. To Virginia we go. Capitol Beltway, the outer loop coming off the Legion Ridge from Maryland. You're going to be right into the work zone. It'll be the left lane getting by the work, heading toward Georgetown Pike. Once you go underneath Route 193, you should be back in the green. 95 northbound, the ramp to Falmouth shut down for overnight work. They may be coning off some more parts of 95 northbound now between Falmouth and Centerport Parkway, exit 136, and I believe ultimately you'll be down to a single lane to get by that part of the work. Watch for work 95 southbound after Quantico, heading for Garrisonville. It was mobile work and overhead work, so they may be blocking a lane left or right side. And on 66 eastbound, the work before and after Centerville and Route 28, exit 53, single left should be getting by. Looking for a new car? The wait is over. Fitzgerald Auto Mall has hundreds of new and used cars to choose from. Visit fitzmall.com. Transparency you can trust. I'm Ian Crawford, WTOP Traffic.
Turning now for your forecast to Amelia Draper.
A pretty mild December night across the area with lows 10, almost 15 degrees above normal. Forecasting a low temperature tonight around 50, and our average low now 36 degrees. In addition to that, plenty of clouds and some patchy fog that could stick around through tomorrow morning. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies tomorrow with highs in the low to mid-50s. I'm Storm Team 4 meteorologist Amelia Draper.
52 in Manassas now, 55 at Metro Center, and 52 in Frederick. Lows in the 40s tonight. The weather is brought to you by Long Fence. Save 15% on Long Fence decks, pavers, and fences. Go to longfence.com today and schedule your free in-home estimate. It's 10:10. Election 2022 on WTOP. What went into Democrat Senator Raphael Warnock's win in yesterday's runoff election in Georgia, and what does it mean for both Democrats and Republicans overall? Washington Post Live anchor Leanne Caldwell joined me earlier to talk about all that.
A lot of people today are pointing to candidate quality. The fact that Herschel Walker was not completely qualified for the race, that he was unable to go up against Raphael Warnock, the senator, who is actually a very phenomenal and disciplined candidate. Herschel Walker was unable to get the support among Republicans, including the Republicans who voted for the Republican governor, Brian, in the general election. And so ultimately what it came down to is that Republicans underperformed actually throughout these midterms, and Republican advisors and aides are saying that it came down to the quality of the candidates, and they say that Donald Trump played a role because it was him who helped to handpick some of these candidates, including Herschel Walker.
This win means that Democrats expand their majority in the Senate from 50 members to 51. What are the implications of that for Democrats in the Senate, President Biden, as well as Republicans?
So it does give Democrats in the Senate a little bit more breathing room to pass their legislation, but let's be real in the sense that there is now going to be a Republican House, and so there's not going to be a lot of legislation that passes through Congress. But where it does matter is through nominations. It's going to be easier to pass those, and also at the committee level. Right now, this is very in the weeds, but it's going to matter for these Democrats who right now all the committees are evenly divided between Republicans and Democrats because of the evenly divided Senate. Now with this extra Democratic senator, they're going to have another Democratic senator on the committees, and so that means that they are able to pass through their nominations. That means they're going to be able to pass their legislation out of committee, and it also means they're going to have subpoena power. So you can actually expect Senate Democrats to open investigations, not into the Biden administration, but into things that they care about. And they're saying right now that corporate America is going to be one of the places that they do investigate.
That's Washington Post Live anchor Leanne Caldwell, who's also co-author of The Early 202. And coming up here on WTOP, the Caps beat the Flyers in Philly and a record-breaking deal signed by the Yankees. It's 10:13.
Don't wait. Get ready for the holidays now during Court Furniture Outlet's year-end clearance event, where everything is on sale at the lowest prices of the year. At Court Furniture Outlet, you'll find everything you need to brighten up your home or make your workplace more comfortable. Court Furniture prices are super low because they use their furniture for use in model homes, movies, and television by home stagers and corporate offices. And when the furniture comes back, they sell it for pennies on the dollar. But now, during Court Furniture Outlet's year-end clearance event, you'll save even more. Save an extra 20% off on a huge array of special buys. Sofa and chair sets from $4.99. 5-piece bedroom sets from $6.99. Cocktail and end table sets from $2.49. And lamps from $19. Come in today and discover why Court Furniture Outlet has been the secret destination of designers, home stagers, and business professionals for 50 years. With 5 locations in the DMV, in Capitol Heights, Rockville, and Catonsville, Maryland, and in Alexandria and Chantilly, Virginia. Or go to courtfurnitureoutlet.com. That's CORT furnitureoutlet.com.
After a long wait, it looks like the cold Washington weather is finally here. Make sure your residential or commercial heating system's ready to keep you warm all season long by calling the Crop Metcalf 5-Star Heating Experts. A Crop Metcalf 5-Star technician has the training and know-how to properly fix and maintain your system and catch potential problems before you're left out of the cold. Call 1-800-GO-CROP or visit cropmetcalf.com.
Crop Metcalf is the one with 5 stars.
Crop Metcalf, home of the 5-Star technician and proud partner of the Washington Nationals.
Sports at 15 and 45, powered by Red River. Technology decisions aren't black and white. Think red.
Here's Rob Woodfork.
All right, the Capitals closed out a long road trip of 6 games in 13 days in style. They beat the Flyers 4-1. They closed it out with 2 straight wins. Charlie Lindgren, 29 saves. He would tell NBC Sports Washington afterward.
That was quite the road trip, I will say. I think it just shows a lot of character, shows the kind of team we have, and that one was just greasy. Like, it was just, I felt like it took a little bit for us to get going, but I felt like kind of in the second period we got it going a little bit, and then just to stick with it and to get a big goal by Stromer there in the third, that's a big win for us.
Yeah, and a big night for Alex Ovechkin. He scored a pair of empty net goals to notch 51 such goals in his career. Only Wayne Gretzky has more. Ovi also pulls within 5 of career milestone 800 goals. The Wizards coming down to the wire in Chicago. They trail the Bulls 106-105. A little under 2.5 minutes left to go in regulation of a game that's been a little back and forth between the two squads. The Wizards getting 24 points from Kristaps Porzingis. He leads the way. All 5 Wizards starters in double-figure scoring tonight. Nikola Vucevic, 25 to lead all scorers in the game. On the college hardwood, Virginia Tech cruised to a 77-49 win over Dayton. They still remain undefeated at home. VCU, though, suffered their first home loss of the season, a second-half letdown against Jacksonville, 73-62. Navy fell hard to West Virginia, 85-64. They've lost 3 in a row. And Georgetown back in the win column with their home victory over Siena, 75-68. The Nationals made their first Rule 5 draft pick in 12 years. Thad Ward, a righty pitcher coming off Tommy John surgery, spent the last 5 seasons in the Red Sox organization. Rob Woodfork, WTOP Sports.
It's 10:17. The CDC says nearly 20,000 people were sent to the hospital during the week of Thanksgiving, but not because of COVID, because of the flu. CBS News medical contributor Dr. David Agus tells us the flu still poses a serious risk for many Americans.
Flu kills 50 to 75,000 people a year. And certainly this year, because there's no immunity to influenza for the last 3 years, it is going to be worse. Couple that with a bad strain. We need to get these vaccines, and luckily they were good about predicting what are the current strains, so it's kind of a no-brainer to get this flu shot as soon as possible.
Dr. Agus says everyone is at risk of getting the flu, and people over the age of 65 are at greatest risk of hospitalization. Now the top stories we're following for you this hour. New tonight, an off-duty FBI special agent shoots and kills someone on the Metro Center platform. D.C. police say it appears to have been in self-defense. We'll tell you what a Maryland analysis of test scores reveals about how students are bouncing back from the pandemic. And the Biden administration changes its stance on COVID restrictions at the southern border. Stay with WTOP with more on these top stories in just minutes. Traffic and weather on the 8s. Back to Ian Crawford.
Capitol Beltway, they are setting up the works and dropping barrels like mad, even in this fog. Yes, even in this fog. Outer loop of the Beltway from the Legion Bridge heading toward Route 193 Georgetown Pike. As you go underneath that route at exit 44, you're going to be finding yourself over to the left in a single file. Maybe setting up on the inner loop as well. Haven't gotten a good handle on that one yet, but be forewarned that it's going to be hard to see everyone tonight. Construction workers, barrels, other cars. It's just that foggy in some spots. And in fact, these cameras that I'm looking at on the Beltway in Virginia, very, very murky. Extra caution, more following distance, less speed, low beam headlights to get from here to there. Continuing in Virginia, 66 eastbound before and after 28 Centerville. That'll be a left lane to get by that work. So I'm waiting for them to drop the barrels. They were supposed to drop barrels by Sudley Road, but have not seen any evidence of that yet. On 95, the northbound work at Falmouth, exit 133, blocks the right lane and the ramp at exit 133. Staying to the left to get by and maybe down to a single lane at some points between exit 133 and Centerport Parkway, exit 136. They should be dropping barrels there now as we speak, if they haven't already done so. On the Capitol Beltway in Maryland, we're doing fine. No reported delays through Montgomery and Prince